The government's quote annual Eid celebration, which doesn't seem terribly annual to me, is being boycotted by various conservative bigwigs like Baroness Warsi and senior business people who've been invited to attend the celebration. It seems that, on the one hand, this is the Conservative government trying to whitewash its support for Israel in the campaign in Gaza, and at the same time, it's all a bit late for people to be making a principled stand at this sort of back end of the Gaza campaign. This isn't the time to be making the stand. The stand should have been made 6 months ago, 5 months ago. And the stand isn't about whether one is celebrating Eid. The stand is about whether or not one is supporting Netanyahu's campaign of a ground invasion of Gaza. When it comes to supporting Israel in an attack by Iranian drones, I think we're on much safer ground. But even there, you know, this is a slippery slope, and the concerns about the actions of Israel should have been voiced and should have been established long ago. Simply getting out on a march is not enough, and what should have been the actions of these senior leaders in the Conservative Party is to have engaged in debate in a proactive and vigorous manner. Instead, as ever, with this particular government and this particular period, people have got into a habit of shouting slogans at one another and assuming they're either in one camp or the other. Well, the whole point that there are now two different events connected to Israel makes it quite clear that it isn't a matter of being in one camp or another. It's all nuanced. And I can well see a situation where somebody could disapprove deeply of the Gaza campaign and yet at the same time approve of the efforts of British fighter planes to take down drones that are being sent to attack Israel and Israeli airspace. In the end, there really is only one solution, and that is to engage in peace. And we've got into a habit of thinking that peace is a natural and inevitable right, that we have a right to peace. Peace is a very unusual thing. We've been extremely lucky over the last 40, 50 years, 70 years. We've been extremely lucky in the West to have had a period of protracted peace. And if we look around at nature, nature isn't naturally peaceful. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that we should be pugnacious, bellicose. We shouldn't. We should be using our civilization, using the principles of education, using the principles of good practice and politics to work for peace in every situation. But it's not our right, and it's not the natural position. The natural position, I fear, is probably more likely to be aggression. So we have to work really hard, and I don't think we've been working really hard, and I don't think that our politicians have been working hard in this country or internationally. I think instead we've allowed people to pontificate and use their rhetoric in place of using their discussion and engaging in the issues, and also using our soft diplomacy. And instead we've done this sort of standoff a war by other means. We've used things like sanctions as a weapon. We've weaponized trade. That isn't a good practice. And I hope we'll realise this is a foolish thing to have done, because it blocks off communication. Communication is the only way that we can resolve conflict, and stopping communication is the worst of all possible solutions. We've blocked communication between ourselves and Russia. We've blocked communication, or communication is blocked between ourselves and Iran. And if we're going to resolve problems, we have to restore communication, whether we like or dislike a particular regime. And I think the important issues now are to forge communications, to promote debate, and to deal with one issue at a time.